Good evening, Dhamma friends. Welcome back to.
Good evening, Bhante.
Good evening. And we are going to get started. Class day 79 with Dhammapada, verse 57. So before we get started, shall we pay respect to the Buddha? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Today we are going to discuss Dhammapada verse 57. It's about how important is Sila, Appamada, diligence, and then thereby how one noble person, monk, attained Nibbana in a very interesting story. So let's take a look at the stanza. Uppavaka. So we have two more stanzas to cover except this. So perhaps Tesang Sampanna Siddhano Appamada Viharino Sammadanya Vimuktana Maro Maggang na Vindati. Tesang Sampanna Siddhano Appamada Viharino Sammadanya Vimuktana Maro Maggang na Vindati. Okay, so we'll be asking from groups as usual. First, we'll be asking from group 1. Is anybody who would like to read? Yes, please.
Pauline, yeah. Thank you,
Yeah,
Bhante.
Pauline, please. Yes.
Tesang sampanya silanang appamada viharinang samadanya vimutanang maro magang na vindati.
Can you go to the first line again? Tesang
Sampana
Sampanna.
silanang.
Sampanna Siddhana.
Yeah. Sampana silanang.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Yes. And group 2. Anyone from group 2? Yes. In, please.
Good evening, Bhante.
Good evening. Yeah, please.
Tesam sampanya silanam appamada viharinam samadana vimutanam maro magam na vindati.
Okay, great. And group 3? Billy, are you from group 3? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Good evening, Bhante.
Good evening. Yes.
Tesang sampanna silanang appamada viharinang samadanya vimutanang maro magang na vindati.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
And 4, KBR, please.
Thank you, Bhante. Tesang sampana silanang appamada viharinang samadanya vimutanang maro magang na vindati.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
And group 5, it's Melinda.
Thank you, Bhante. Tesam sampana silanam appamada viharinam samananya vimuttanam samadanya vimuttanam maro magam na vindati.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
group
Bhante.
6. Yes, TC. So,
Thank you. Tesam sampana silanang apamada viharinam samadanya vimutanam maro magang na vidati.
Maru Magang, na
Maro magang na vindati.
Vedati. Yes. Great.
Thank you.
And group 7. Okay, so there are two. I'd like to read. Yes, Susie, please go ahead. Yeah.
Good evening, Bhante. Thank you.
Yes, good evening.
Tesang sampana silanang apamada viharinang samadanya vimutanang maro magang na vindati.
Great. And group 8. Yes, Doris, please.
Thank you, Bhante. Desam sempana silanang apamada viharinang samadanya vimuttanang maro magang navindati.
Okay, great.
Thank you,
Now
Bhante.
we'll be giving the opportunity to others. We'll start with him and then the others. Yeah. Yes, Emma, please go ahead.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes.
Tesam sampana silanam apamada viharinam samadanya vimutanam maro magam na vindadi.
Okay, great. And Chupen.
Good evening, Bhante. Tesang sampana silanang apamada viharinang samadanya vimutanang maro magang na vindati.
Okay, great.
Thank you,
And
Bhante.
Lisa,
Good evening, Bhante.
good evening.
Tesam sampana silanam apamada viharinam samadanya vitunam vimutanam maro magam na vindati.
Yes. And Uri,
Thank you.
yes.
Good evening, Bhante.
Good evening.
Tesam sampana silanang apamada viharinam samadanya vimutanam maro maga na vindati.
Yes, great.
Thank you.
Paripurna.
Good evening, Bhante.
Yes, good evening.
Tesam sampana silanam apamada viharinam samadanya vimutanam maro magam na vindati.
Great. And then Jenny. Yes.
Good evening, Bhante.
Good evening.
Tesang sampana silanang apamada viharinang samadanya vimuttanang maro magam na vindati.
And then Chen, please.
Good evening, Bhante.
Yes, good evening.
Tesang sampana silan apamada viharina amadanya vimuttanang maro magana vindati.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay. Serene, yes.
Okay, Bhante. Suki hotu Bhante. Tesang sampana silanang apamada viharinam samadanya vimutanam maro magang na vindati.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Bhante.
And Suzanne, yes.
Thank you, Bhante. Tesam sampana silanam apamada viharinam vimutanam samadanya vimutanam maro magam na vindati.
Okay, great. And
Thank you.
Mei-Ling, yes.
Hi, Bhante.
Yes.
Tesang sampana silanang apamada viharinang samadana vimutanang marumagang na vindati.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Bhante.
And yeah. Yes. Wong Puchong. Yes.
Sorry, Bhante, because
Yes,
something
please.
wrong with the internet line. I have to switch to my the other one, iPad. Okay, I try. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Okay.
Tesam sampana silanang appamada viharinang samadana vimutanang maro magang na vindati.
Yes, great.
Thank you,
And,
Bhante.
yes, any other participant who would like to read? Yes, John Pakla, please.
Thank you, Bhante. Tesam sampana silam nam. Appamada viharinam. Samadanya vimutanam. Maro magam na vindati.
Great.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes. Okay, so then with that, we will go to the explanation part. Tesang sampanna silanam appamada viharina samadanya vimuttanam maru maganga vindati. There is an individual, and that individual is a noble individual, and because of this noble individual's actions, thoughts, and then speeches, Mara cannot trace his next life or her next life. Normally, Mara knows all the whereabouts of us, right? And nobody can normally escape from him. But there is a way to escape from his flowers. Perhaps this could be another way to look at it. Why is this stanza a part of Uppava, flowers? It is said that Mara has flowers. What are his flowers? Can you think about his flowers? Is it jasmine, rose bay, sandalwood? Is it his flowers? And never go and pick them, pluck them, because they are his flowers. Actually, they are not his flowers. His flowers are objects of the sense faculties. Rupa is his flower, sights, images, and then sounds are his flowers. Then smell is his flowers. Taste is his flowers. Then touch is his flowers. Then thought is also his flowers. So now you don't need to demonize this understanding. It is said that a lot of people they fall prey to the healthy management of 5 sense objects. Okay? So we don't have to look at it as a sensory deprivation. Say, for instance, we have to shut down our eyes, our ears, our nose, tongue, body, and mind. We don't have to shut down. That is not how the Buddha asks us to handle our senses. Say, for instance, you think that you are very much stressed out, and there are people who are preparing for the stress before a couple of days ahead of the problem, right? And then they are going through the stress. But in Buddhism, it is not that you escape from the stress, rather than you develop a healthy understanding of the stress, worries, regret, frustrations, right? Now, if you think you are a good person now, better than 10 years ago, what has been happening to you by now? Is it that you overcame the problem? Perhaps the problem is still there, but you have developed a different attitude towards worry, regret, and all. Not even to the negative things, but also to the wholesome activities. Say, for instance, you have been compassionate towards everybody, for many years. But maybe you may have had certain, what you call, expectations in return at that time. Now you have been lower in that part. That means you have been developing a different attitude towards even that kusala activity. So this is why we don't have to look at our senses or sensory, I would say, objects as places where we have to escape, we have to shut down, we have to sort of cover, right? Like someone who is watching a horror movie, and then when the horror things are coming up, trying to cover eyes, then thinking that horror has gone. It is not the way how we are going to experience negativity, happiness, unhappiness. We would like to develop a healthy, wholesome attitude towards what's happening over there. So now, according to the Buddhist texts, including Dhammapada, Buddha says that Mara has flowers, but they are not tangible physical flowers for the most part. They are the sense objects. So that means keep an eye on your experience of sensual pleasures. They are his flowers. One day, if Mara become a female version, they are her flowers. Huh? Mara is not gender neutral. Mara is a man at that point, anyways. But Mara can be a female one day. Anyway, so then we have to handle our sense objects carefully. So that's why this stanza has crept into the Puppava. Otherwise, you might see how does this stanza talk about flowers? There is no mention about flowers. But flowers are Mara's flowers. Mara's flowers. Mara has 5 flowers, 6 flowers in this case. Okay, so then there is a way. Now, normally, oftentimes, commonplace is that all sentient beings, except a very few number of sentient beings who have exposed to the true Dhamma, not even the true Dhamma, the true practice, are trying to find the way out of the Mara's flowers. But the rest of the whole, many beings, sentient beings, they are trapped in the Mara's flowers. So this is what we have to understand initially as a background knowledge. But in the story itself, Venerable Godhika, Godhik, Venerable Godhika's Nibbana, enlightenment, happened in a very interesting way. I don't think that we encourage others to follow the same way. But Mara was very concerned about his enlightenment. And then finally, what the Buddha says is that people like you cannot find out the next birth, or I would say the rebirth of enlightened people. So that means you can bypass Mara's flowers if you know the way. Okay, this is the idea. So what are we supposed to practice to what you call evade, or I would say bypass Mara's flowers? Before that, let's understand Mara. Who is Mara? Maybe some of you might have not heard about him very much. Who is Mara to you? If we ask
the evil one.
Evil one. If we ask from a Christian, they might say a certain individual's name, Satan's name. If we ask Hinduism, somebody from Hindu, what do you call, teachings, Hinduism, they might say certain evil forces, such as asuras or other beings, anti-Brahmin versions, anti-Vishnu Krishna versions. So that means every religion philosophy recognizes certain evil forces that are against their purpose. They are telling people a purpose. If anybody is going against that purpose, they are taken as the evil. Now in Buddhism, there is a small problem here, because there is a ongoing debate for many decades, not even now, about whether Mara is an individual or a concept. So there was an early research done by a professor in 70s, Ninian Smarts, done in University of Lancaster, about Mara, the Mara's 5 versions. Mara has been recognized in 5 forms. I think I discussed that some time ago about this Mara's versions. So Buddhism identifies Mara not as an external person only. Couple of versions of Mara, say for instance, 3 versions of Mara exist within every sentient being. So Mara is not an external person in that case. Now, what is the earliest encounter of the Buddha with the Mara? How do we know? I mean, of course, you know the battle between Mara and Assaji Siddhartha just before he became the Buddha. But was that the first encounter Assaji Siddhartha had with the Mara? Are there any other, I would say, encounters that Prince Siddhartha, or perhaps Prince Siddhartha, Assaji Siddhartha, even the little princess, what do you call, Prince, Siddhartha had? He had a lot of encounters. The first encounter he had was when he started practicing asceticism under the advice of 5 ascetics, Panchavagya bhikkhus. At that point, Mara approached the Prince ascetic Siddhartha and requested him something interesting. This was given in a sutta called Padhana Sutta in the Sutta Nipada, where Mara says, dear Prince, I know what you want to do. You want to help out the whole universe, this whole sentient beings. So why don't you go back to the palace and you can do a lot of good karma. I know you don't like to do bad karma. So go back to the palace and then do good karma. And what was the Buddha's, ascetic Siddhartha's thought? Even at the time he does not know about the Noble Eightfold Path, NEP. He has no idea about Noble Eightfold Path because he is under the practice of 5 ascetics, self-mortification. What he said to Mara, I'm not doing akusala karma, but I also don't want to do kusala karma. Punya, actually punyas. Why? Punya, papa, they both take me to the sansara. I mean, this is not for us, okay? I mean, don't take it wrongly, because we still want to have to do good karma and then go away from bad karma. But for the ascetic Siddhartha, he knew that he would become the Buddha, but he didn't know that he was with the wrong people at that point, because he had to experiment about it. So he said, don't tell me to go back to the palace and then to do good karma. I can do good karma, but that was not what I want to do now. Because if I do good karma, I will be reborn again. Then how sure will I be that I could have access to the Dhamma? Say, for instance, that you are going to be reborn in like another 3-4 lifetimes in the human world. What if the Dhamma is absent from this whole universe at that time? Right? Just come up with an educated guess. Now at least we have some books, some of the suttas. Maybe we are learning. We are learning and we are trying to practice in bits and pieces. But what if in 2, 3, 4, 5 lifetimes, you are again coming to the human world? At that time, all this Dhamma thing perhaps might not be available for us. At least to learn. You are willing to learn something good, but you may have no access to it. So perhaps this might be the reason why ascetic Siddhartha, having understood the very reason of why he left the palace, he proposed to the Mara, I don't want to do good karma because I done a lot of good karma. Now I want to find the way out of the suffering. I want to find the way out of this dukkha and then learn it, become the Buddha, and teach other people. So this is the idea that we understand about the first encounter between Mara and ascetic Siddhartha. So Mara understood he does not want to give up. That means he wants to carry on. But Mara also does not want to give up. He wants to bug him. He wants to keep troubling him. So what happened was that, anyways, then after 6 years, around 6 years time, he was with the 5 ascetics, and the 5 ascetics encounter with ascetic Siddhartha did give him some insights about certain sila part, but he understood doing only things for sila does not help me to understand life. Giving a lot of pain to the body is another wrong end in our life. And giving a lot of happiness to our body is also another problem in our life. So that means, as Siddhartha understood that there is no happiness from suffering, not like the American narrative, the work narrative. Do hard working and you will be happy after that. That's an old narrative. Right now, with the messy work culture at the moment, we understand it's not just doing hard work. People can be happier, maybe can make more money in their own work. It might be at the same time the wisdom how to do things at this moment. Right, a long time ago we had a lot of robbers on the road, maybe people who are stealing things, but now there are digital thieves. they are coming in different forms. Insurance robbers, maybe copyright infringed people, maybe identity thieves, passport thieves, reward thieves. So the stealing also has taken different forms at this point, right? So then we have to understand that the practice of the Dhamma, at the same time understanding what you call dukkha and then sukha, should be done within a real-time perspective, not that Indian 6 BCE era perspective only, right? Now in the suttas, Buddha picked up goats, dogs, cows, pigs, and we are not picking up them anymore. We understand the bigger narrative of pigs, what you call cows, dogs. Fortunately, he did not pick up cats, but dogs, cows, pigs, these animals, even some buffaloes. So anyways, so we have to look at sukha, dukkha from a perspective how sukha, dukkha really work towards our happiness. I'm not talking about indulgence. Indulgence is a problem. I think you know that. But what ascetic Siddhartha understood at that point was that after he spent 6 years of time around with 5 ascetics, that this dukkha, we are already in dukkha, so why to give more dukkha to the body, right? We have inherent dukkha already, frustrations, rejections, denial, and some other things like aging, sicknesses. So why to give more dukkha to the body? Perhaps this might not be the way. So he changed. But at the moment he was changed, Mara was very happy. He thought he is going to the other end now. He worked a lot onto the modification part. Perhaps he's going to the other end. But he did not go to the other end because he already had experience about it before he became an ascetic during his lay life as Prince Siddhartha. So he understood exactly the difference between dukkha and sukha. But actually, what he understood was not the ordinary dukkha or ordinary happiness. He had this indulgent happiness and excruciating pain. That's what he understood. A lot of people understand that, okay, I had gone through problems in my life, so I know about Atta Kilamatami. I had experienced a lot of luxuries and comfort, so I know Kamasukalika. It's not that way, because he understood the indulgence happiness while he was a layperson. And then at the same time, he understood the excruciating, the enterprising, very, very difficult type of dukkha by giving a lot of pain to the body. It is said in some of the suttas, when he touched his tummy, he almost touched his back. And he never had a shower for many years. He had not eaten anything. And then he understood this is not going to take me anywhere. I'm not going anywhere at this point. So I have to stop this. I have to make myself happy, admire myself happy. That was the moment Panchavaggiya Bhikkhu left him, because you have betrayed us. You now broke the vows. You are eating, you are happy, This, you can't go to the enlightenment like some of our people, right? So-called Buddhists. When a Buddhist is becoming happy, you are not practicing Buddhism properly. What is your Buddhism? Understand pain, suffering, pessimism in life. How to go to Nibbana? Nibbana is happiness, the highest happiness. How to go there without understanding even a little bit of happiness in life? Right? So Mara was watching all that. So he was incognito in all these situations, really looking at it. So what happened? The moment he took a turn from Kamasukalika Attakila Yoga into the Noble Eightfold Path, his own invention, then he found out that this would be the path that this troubling fellow will not be able to find out. Mara will not be able to find out. So, Noble Eightfold Path is not just a meditation. This is another misunderstanding. Some people might think enlightenment will come to us only by meditating. No, meditation is a part of it. It has 7 other practices. So we have to practice all them together simultaneously. First, you will practice one by one. And when you are really doing well, then you practice together. Right? It's like that you make a good curry first, or whatever the dish first, and then later on you make 6, 7 dishes at the same time and making somebody happy. Right? But first you will start with one thing. We can't compare it to a curry, but I'm telling that, the understanding is that you may start with one thing first, but starting with the right thing first is the way out here. What is it? Samadhi, right view. Without right view, Noble Eightfold Path will never arise in your Dhamma practice. So then right view means 10 things. Developing your thoughts, your attitudes with regard to 10 things. Because our thoughts are highly, attitudes are highly conditioned by misinformation in today's world. Think about media, internet, hearsay. So many things are going. And this misinformation, we are part of a misinformation factory now. At this point, different people talk different things. So we need information, but the thing is that we are highly misinformed. And then what happened? That misinformation affect our sensory experience. Eyes to rupa, then ears to sound. They all are affected. When our sensory experience is affected by the misinformation from outside and then inside, then whatever the perception we are making will also be distorted. So then where is right view? Where is the opportunity for right view to arise in our Dhammapada? That is the problem. So that's why right view and then all those noble path factors have to kick in, start in. Otherwise, this practice will not go anywhere. So Mara really dislikes people who understand this Noble Eightfold Path as a whole, not as one thing. There are a lot of people who are struggling doing it with just only one thing. Think about it. Right view, right intention, right speech, right living. I think people don't bother about these things. What people bother about is Samma Sati, right mindfulness. Right? This is what they are bothered about. But where are you going to aim at? How are you going to right mindfulness without the right attitude, right view? Your speech matters, your thoughts matters, your view matters, your way of earning money matters. It matters. Right? And a lot of things are matter, right? Effort matters, your energy matters. Right? So I was just trying to say about Mara. And then what happened? We see him time to time in stories. In this particular story, Mara was unable to trace Venerable Godika's next life. Let's take a look at what kind of person was Venerable Godika according to the stanza. So we have to look at a couple of aspects here. Number 1, Silang Sampan. Okay. This is not Panya. This is called Pan. Sampan. Sampan means Sampanna means endowed with, possessed of, endowed with. Tesam means those individuals. Those are the arahants in this case. Those arahants. They are endowed with virtue. We don't find this way of sila in other places. Why? People practice sila, but most people are not endowed with sila, possessed of sila. What does it mean by possessed of sila here? Sampanna silana. Sila is complete with regard to the arahants. What about our sila? Is it a complete sila? Or is it a partial, perennial seal that we have? Right? That's why when you go to the vihara, you have to take precepts all the time, right? Why is it? Is it perhaps it might be a cultural, customary activity? But if you have the precepts, why you want to take the precepts again? Who checks your own precepts? Who checks your sila? Can others check your sila? If you are not honest about it, if you're honest about it, you might say, you might not say what happened today. Nobody can check your sila unless you self-checking with your sila. So that means if you take care of your sila, you don't have to take precept. But when you go to the vihara, other events, you are going to do it because it's as a practice, as a cultural practice. Okay? Not telling people in the event that, hey, I have not broken any sila, so why should I take it today? But the idea is that if I keep my precepts, why to take it again, retake again? But say, for instance, there's someone who broke precepts from morning to evening, lied, doing other things as well. So this person is definitely supposed to retake the precepts. But the idea here is that Putajjana people, unenlightened people, sila is not a complete sila. But Arahant sila is a complete sila. As a matter of that, Arahants don't need to practice sila. Right? Arahants don't need to practice sila. That's why they are called aseka. This is the Pali word for them, aseka. People who are not need to be disciplined. People who don't need the discipline anymore. They are called aseka. So we are called seka. You think you are enlightened, you are already aseka. If not, you all are seka. Seka means discipline. That means this sila is a problem, right? Is it a problem to us? Yes, every day we have to take care of us, have to be careful, right? A lot of things to do. So one day when we become enlightened, forget about sila. Sila is not going to matter us anymore because we are not doing any bad things. So why? Why to think about sila? That's why when someone becomes an arahant, that person has an immunity coming out of that enlightenment. That's why arahant sila is sampanna sila. Arahant sila, arahants are complete, endowed with the sila. What about non-arahants? They are not complete with the sila. Their sila has to be monitored every day. Who can monitor our sila? By a monk? By the Buddha? By the God? No, nobody can do that. It's by being honest about what have I been doing for the whole day, last week, last month, maybe coming weekend. That's how we are going to think about that I'm on the practice some sila properly. I think a few weeks ago we discussed about sila and sikha, right? I think I don't have to go to that level. Sila, sikha. Sila means this overall, what do you call, good conduct, discipline. Sikha is the practice that we do to become disciplined. So sikha is not, okay, these are bad translations, poor translations. Training rules. We don't see rules in Buddhism. If you look at Vinaya, Vinaya is not a rule. What's the meaning of Vinaya? Vinaya means bringing to the discipline. I mean, modern context, somebody might say it's a rule. No, it's not a rule. Rule means somebody is monitoring. Nobody can monitor you, even in the Vinaya. Because why? When a monk is doing a bad, let's say a monk mistakenly did a bad thing, then other monks going to complain to the Sangha at that time. At that time. This is what we see in the Vinaya. So then the Sangha has to get together as a council. We call it Ubbahika. Then they cannot punish, that's a bad word probably. They can take a disciplinary action against that particular Sangha member just because someone noticed something happened. They have to consider 7 things in that judgment, in that verdict. What are they? First, they have to check whether that monk was mentally sick at that time. Was he really intentional? Was he under a mental problem? Human can be mentally sick, right? Now, this is the same thing like we see in the penal court. The judge is asking, were you under the impression that you really know that what you were doing? And then the punishment will be more severe. If the monk is saying, I didn't know what I did, and he is exempt from the action, that's why I'm saying, finally, normally, because that's why honesty comes in, right? Not that somebody who knows other persons, I know you did it, but you are lying to me. That's not how it is going to be discussed. But first, the Sangha Council has to look at whether you were really conscious about what you were doing. If you were perhaps intoxicated, if you were distracted, right? So those things are compassionate reasons to toss down the complaint given by other people. So that's why I'm saying these precepts, perhaps we could say a disciplinary, something to discipline oneself. Self-disciplinary activities. This could be a little bit better translation. Because Vinaya or your own Sikha, even 5 precepts. So this is something we need to understand, Sila and Sikha. Not even that. Now, unlike Abrahamic religions, Buddhist Sila is not always morally positive. What does it mean? It's a philosophical word. Morally positive means when we say Sila, normally the primary idea about Sila is it's a good thing, something good that you have to do. You have to take care of other beings. You have to, including oneself, you have to take care of other people's possessions. You have to take care of other people's relationships. You have to take care of your speech. You have to take care of your food, beverages, whatever things, so that you are not unmindful. This is the idea. But the Buddha has used Sila for the wrong activities of Sila too. So that means there is a good Sila, there is a bad Sila. So then what we understand by the term Sila is a morally neutral sense. So this Pali word Sila is a morally neutral thing. So then how do we understand it's a morally positive or morally negative? Depending on the context which that Sila, the Pali word Sila is used. Now in this case, in this particular stanza, it's not bad Sila, it's about good Sila, because Sila is replete, or I would say Sila is complete here. That means an arahant. So the sense here is that complete Sila. It's a very big topic, so we don't have to go to a lot of information, otherwise I can't save the time. So Mara cannot see someone who is complete with Sila, and then not even that. In addition to the Sila, Appamada Viharinam. Viharinam means, what does Vihara mean? Pali word Vihara. Vihari. Vihara means?
Temple,
Temple, monastery.
holy place.
One idea is the place where Sangha members live, Vihara, right? But the idea here, Viharina, means our living. Now you know, Brahma Vihara. Brahma Vihara means living with 4 divine abodes, Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka. So that means Vihara means on one side, living. I mean, I want to live with Brahma Vihar, so Vihar. And also the people who are living as such, they are the Sangha members, and their place of that practice could be the Vihar. Now here it is said that in addition to an Arahant being complete with a complete Sila practice, where they are immune to the Sila practice any longer from that point onwards, they are living with Appamad. That's an interesting thing. We talked about Appamad in one of the, I think, second chapter. Dhammapada. Whole lot of stanzas about Appamad. What does Appamada mean to all of you? Diligence. Why are we diligent for? Why? Is it because I miss my flight? I miss my train? I miss my deadline? That's what you call secular punctuality. Yes, we are supposed to be as such because we have to keep the promises which we make for other people. And we can't just go, past the time as much as we can. On the other hand, we cannot go past the spiritual deadlines. Do we have a spiritual deadline? Now we have deadlines in our calendars, paying bills. Otherwise, we will be charged by the company, bank, insurance corporation, credit cards. We are very scared. We might incur charges. Do we have a spiritual deadline? Or it is practice as you go? Is it how it works? Is it something called practice as you go? I don't think so. I think you will understand this issue when you are not able to continue this kind of practice any longer one day. If you run into a sickness, if you run into some other problem, that is the day you will feel the spiritual deadline. Because you are not any longer be able to do it. Perhaps you want to do it, but you can't do it. Because physically, mentally, you are not able to continue it. You can't do it. So that's why we need to understand this Appamada as a spiritual deadline. There's no deadline date for us, but we have to engage in the practice as much as possible. We may not be able to be complete people. We don't have to. Now you think about some of the examples. Now there are so many examples in the Buddhist canon, Buddhist sutras, that different people become enlightened. Very different. Angulimala's case is a very different case. Somebody might say Angulimala had done his homework in previous lives. But what was the Angulimala's sila in this life? Tell me. What was his sila? Or you can, of course, tell his story to somebody. Yeah, Angulimala must have done his homework, paramita, everything in the previous life. But in this life, under the bad influence of bad people, maybe, you know what happened, right? Other students, they fabricated a lie to the teacher that Angulimala, Ahinsaka, his good name, was having an affair with your wife, and he got mad. And every student had to pay a tribute at that time, and teacher wanted him to suffer a lot through that tribute. That's why he said, make a garland of 1,000 fingers, right? So the very question here is that, okay, though Angulimala must have done his good karma in the past life to become enlightened, but then did he have any sila to go to that enlightenment in this life? So that means, it does not mean that it is going to be a common formula to all the other people. And we all have to practice sila until we get to the enlightenment. But Angulimala was exempt from that. And what about the sex worker Ambapali and Addakasi? Ambapali's money was not ethical money. And then what happened? She went to the Buddha, told the Buddha, Bhante, I want to offer my garden. Ambavan, would you like to accept? Did the Buddha say, your money is bad money? You can't offer this to me? No, he accepted it. Not even that, she became a nun, she attained Nibbana. So how to understand these complicated stories from Buddhist canon? Does it mean that people can engage in bad activities and then become good people? Of course. It doesn't mean you can do it. If you have done it, what to do? You should have a way out to go to Nibbana. But there were problems that each of these complicated individuals went through. Think about Devadatta. Devadatta, Buddha's cousin, Yashodhara's brother. What happened? Finally, he wanted to see the Buddha, and his fellow monk said, "Teacher, don't go to see the Buddha, because we are your followers. If you go see him, what will happen to us? And plus, let me tell you, Buddha doesn't like you anymore, because you harm him a lot. You threw stones at him, you sent government forces from roof down to the temple to kill him, and then you provocated an elephant to kill him. You think Buddha will accept you?" You know what Devadatta told the other monks, his fellow monks? The Buddha had the same loving kindness to 4 people. The elephant that I provocated to go and kill him, and then Angulimala, and myself, Devadatta, and Buddha's own son, Rahula. The Buddha's loving kindness to all these 4 people are equal. So he will not drop me. He will accept me. So Buddha overheard this story, and he knew that he would come. And the Buddha, he's going to make it happen. He's going to make it to Jetanaram. He will die on the way. So the idea here is that appamada, that means diligence, is important, but sila part, with regard to certain complicated characters that we know in the Buddhist stories, how to understand sila. That means sila is not just a what you call amateuristic idea in Buddhism. It's the gradual practice for someone to go to enlightenment. But there are certain individuals who might not go through sila that much. But simply because of that, it is not going to be relevant to us. Because we know the importance of sila. Not even sila, now here, appamada. Appamada means we are not wasting our precious time. We need to engage in Dhamma activities, especially the Noble Eightfold Path, purifying our views, coming up with good thoughts, practicing right speech, and then practicing right action. Are these things challenging to us in everyday life? We learn it from books, theories like this at the moment. Is the real practice challenging? It might be challenging. Why is it? Because our practice is also conditioned by people who are surrounding us. Think about, you are with somebody who has no right way, no dana thought, very greedy person, stingy, greedy. And you can't even talk to that person. That person shuts you up right away. You can't talk these things, I want more money, I can't live without some money. Yes, everybody needs money. But then how can you maintain a healthy perspective about wealth and money, right? So our practice is conditioned by the people who we are with. Our work people, our family people, society, even the government, because you have to work with them as well, paying tax, abiding by their new laws, culture, other ethnicities, right? That's why we have to be very careful in how to implement our practice, Noble Eightfold Path practice, with external conditioners, because they are conditioning us. That's why this appamada is very important. So our diligence can be only done when we know our conditioning factors, people and other things. Now, an arahant is someone who is really working with their appamada activity. Definitely they were arahants because of their appamada. At the same time, their appamada practice is working in a way to help out other people as well, like the Bodhisattva practice. And then sila, then appamada, then samvadanya vimuttan. Vimukti means freedom. Freedom. Samvadanya, samma, Sammadanya. That means Sammanyana, right? So they have freed themselves through the right understanding. Now, freedom is such an important topic in among the religious traditions, right? Especially free will. Now, Buddhism does not talk about the freedom of the will. That's not relevant to Buddhism. And Buddhism always talks about that there is no absolute freedom. Rather than absolute freedom, what Buddhism has is we have a freedom, but it's always conditioned. It's conditioned by other factors. So when we understand that conditioned freedom, we can engage in the Dhamma very well, because things are changing all the time, including ourselves. So this freedom finally will take anybody to enlightenment, vimukti. But that upgrading level of spirituality only happens due to understanding of the Noble Eightfold Path. That's why, in this case, this Venerable Bodhika freed, because he developed that understanding. And this kind of a person is not visible to Mara. Mara na vindati, does not find Maggam. Mara cannot understand the road of that person, enlightenment process. He has no idea about what that process is all about. Okay, let's go to the story now. Godika. Now, Godika, monk Godika was a monk who was living at the time when the Buddha was living at what you call Velvanarama, Rajagaha. So Venerable Godika was practicing jhanas. So he attained second, third jhanas time to time. But for 6, 7 times, he expired from the jhanas for whatever drawbacks in his practice. That's why jhana practice is always not a very confirmed practice. It's the practice we start our meditation, perhaps, but we should not end up with the jhanas. Just like when you start sila, you should not end up with the sila practice. You have to move ahead, move towards the samadhi, and then panya. So what happened? Then Venerable Godika thought, I'm very unhappy about this expiry of my jhanas, so I want to die. So I have to make a disclaimer here. This is not a very usual idea to do for somebody. It's a very extraordinary example that we have to understand about Venerable Godika's enlightenment. So what happened? He grabbed his razor and then he started cutting his neck. Now the idea here is that this is little bit what you call unfriendly idea with regard to the Panatipata precept. Perhaps he was very unhappy about his practice, and we might see this idea as a practice of taking life. But what happened? Perhaps he was trying to pick up the razor, and then at that time Mara was looking at what he was doing. So he thought, maybe I have heard that when some people taking razors, that means they are really frustrated about the jhana practice. Perhaps when this monk is frustrated about the meditation, that's why he picked up the razor. Now, according to that frustration, with the support of that frustration, he might attain Nibbana. I have to stop this. So he went to see the Buddha. He told the Buddha, I'm Mara. I know you, you know me. But there is a monk over there in the forest. He's practicing. He picked up the razor. So I think what he's going to do is not a nice thing. He's going to die. Then Buddha and other monks approach that monk, Venerable Godika. By that time, Venerable Godika had attained Nibbana and also passed away. It doesn't mean he cut himself, but maybe because of the frustration, he used the frustration as a motivation to understand the changes of the jhana. That motivation helped him to attain Nibbana. So he had attained Nibbana. Then the Buddha said a couple of verses about him, and then went back to the Veluvanaram. After going to Veluvanaram, what happened? Mara wanted to check what happened to Venerable Godhika. He came back. Then he asked, what was the next life of Venerable Godhika? Then Buddha told him, someone who has complete his sila, who is living with diligence. And what made all this possible was due to his understanding about the Noble Eightfold Path. Such a person is not be traced down by someone like you. You can't trace him because he has gone beyond your domain, your 6 sensory objects domain. He has quitted. You can't find him. He is not. Actually, the story says when someone passes away, Mara is very interested to see where he was reborn. She was reborn. He's very happy to do it. So once Venerable Godhika passed away, Mara was looking on his radar. Where was he reborn? I can't see him. So I better go see the Buddha. Maybe he knows the place. And that's how he was told by the Buddha, an enlightened person cannot be traced. Okay, so this is a pretty interesting story about understanding the enlightened person's life and the passing away, and at the same time, how Mara was unable to trace. The next slide. Now, let's talk about what will happen to us when we die. I think that is something interesting to understand. Now, according to the Sutta text, we understand that when just before we going to pass away, we might go through 3 things. What are they? Kamma, Kamma Nimitta, and Gati Nimitta. I think this is a very common understanding in Buddhist texts. Have you ever found out these 3 things? Not yet. Maybe I will go through one. Definitely. Kamma, Kamma Nimitta, Gati Nimitta. We will go through these things. But there is one that is very exclusive to some people. Kamma. What is the Kamma here? Let me write for you. Number 1 is Kamma. Number 2, Kamma Nimitta. Number 3, Gati Nimitta. Kamma, Kamma Nimitta, and Gati Nimitta. Okay. So what is Kamma here? This is not the normal karma that we are talking. Now, normal karma is Chetana Hambikave Kammang Vada. Chetayitva Kammang Karoti Kayana Vachaya Manasa. Given in the Nibbedika Pariyaya Sutta, Anguttara Nikaya. But here Kamma means the Kamma, the volitional activity that will come to your mind just before you pass away. How important is that karma according to Buddhism? That's a very good question to think about. Because Buddhism always talks about whether you've done lots of good karma, but your last thought, if you are going to mess up with your last thought, you are going to go through a problem in your life. But don't ask me then how to do it. I mean, then we have to know when is my last moment. We never know when is our last moment. So the best thing is to practice mindfulness all the time with Noble Eightfold Path. And somewhere in that practice, we will die. The moment of death, when and where doesn't matter to us, but death is certain. So Kamma means the last thought that comes to us, we will call it the karma. I mean, whatever the last thought which has a karma. Then Kamma Nimitta. Kamma Nimitta means a certain symbol of that karma. Think about someone has done lots of bad karma in his or her life. maybe for the whole lifetime, the person was a professional liar, lying to everybody, personally, professionally. Then lying is the kamma. Kamma nimitta will be one lie, how he separated other people, or she separated other people. Big lie that he or she made a very, very big conflict between two people. Say, for instance, a good person, someone who has been doing a lot of good karma, taking care of precepts, dana, right? And metta, karuna, mudita, upekka, they are the more important things. Then you are remembering a certain activity where you were compassionate. That was your karma. And then now you are thinking, your mind easily goes to an activity you did in that compassionate thing. Say, for instance, there was one time I was helping someone. I was very empathetic, and I knew that they were not able to afford certain things, and I was able to help them out. That particular activity as a symbol will be the common image. Right? But according to our reading, understanding across the sutta text, a lot of people find difficult to have a good karma at that point. Why is it? It is because of the human mind. Is our human mind always going around one good karma? Maybe 99% of good karma, or go to the 1% of bad karma. What is the nature of our mind? Our nature of mind is, mind would like to go to the incomplete areas in our life. This is what is happening to us. Mind would like to go to binaries. Why do I say binaries? Good and bad. Right? Mind would like to go to the binary understanding. Good and bad. Buddha does not even talk about good and bad. Good and bad and gray areas, conditions. Why not to look at those areas? Sometimes someone can do a good karma with bad intention. Sometimes someone can do a bad karma with a good intention. Right? It can happen both ways. Also, someone can do a good action with a good intention, also a bad action with a bad intention. So what I'm trying to say is that Buddhism talks about a gray area of karma. So don't look at karma as a binary, good and bad. There may be a mixture of them. Maybe there are certain things we cannot bring karma exactly to that platform. So that's why a lot of people, when they don't understand the nature of the mind, but they understand Satipatthana, but they don't understand the nature of their mind. Do we work on our nature of mind, or do we want to incorporate Satipatthana, Vipassana, Samatha, Noble Eightfold Path, all that right away? I think that's what we are doing. We want to incorporate all the good things to the mind, but we never know the inherent default nature of the mind. This is what we have to understand first. We have to know that our mind would like to censor us. Our mind would like to go for the incomplete areas of our life. Also think about, just before we pass away, according to Abhidhamma and some other suttas, the capacity for us to go to think about a good karma is very minimal, no to minimal, because we are very weak. Our consciousness knows that consciousness is going to depart. At that time, consciousness is not going to work very well. This is another problem. Abhidhamma also talks about it. Abhidhamma says, normally we have 7 javanas working in a registered thought, Arambana. Like now we are having 7 javanas normally, for the most part. But when we're going to pass away, the javanas number going to go down to 5. Why does Abhidhamma talk as such? There is a reason for that. The reason is consciousness knows I'm going to depart from your body. So why to motivate you? So this is why we need to understand the nature of the mind. When I know the nature of mind, maybe I'm creating an opportunity to bring my good things to that point. Think about when you are working with other people, when you know other people can make mistakes. This is one way to look at it. And when you work with other people, you never expect other people to make mistakes. Who will suffer more? The one who knows that other people might make mistakes, or the one someone thinks other people are not supposed to make mistakes? Who is going to suffer, go through some frustrations all the time? The one who has a perfectionist view about other people. But what if you know people can make mistakes? You accept them. You might say something, but you accept them. Don't worry about it. It can happen. Right? So you go to that understanding. What if you know the nature of your mind? Then you will motivate your mind. Yes, I know. You will go to the incomplete areas of my spiritual life. But I tell you, look at the good side too. That will happen when we know the nature of the mind. So that is something to think about under the Kamma Nimitta. So Kamma Nimitta means a certain symbol of that Kamma that comes to your last thought. We call it Chutichitta. Now Chutichitta is the last thought, and then Chutichitta has a certain karma and also Karma Nimitta, a symbol of that karma. And there's another one called Gati Nimitta. What is Gati Nimitta? We have some examples, even in Dhammapada stories, in some other stories, where some individuals, just before they're going to pass away, they had seen certain things with regard to the next life. I'm not saying things like somebody to say that the grandma told grandfather is talking to her, and I know, yeah, she's communicating with the grandpa, and she passed away. Yeah, maybe she went to the same place like grandpa. I'm not talking these kind of things. Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe she has been hallucinating about it. He has been hallucinating about it. But here, what we understand is some stories. Let's take one story that happened during the Buddha time. Dhammika Upasaka called Dhammika. So Dhammika Upasaka was a very devout Buddhist who went to the temple. But there came a day, he was very sick, and he had daughters, perhaps 10, 12 daughters, and they even one couple of sons. And they invited Sangha members that our father is going to die and we are very sad about it. Can you come and chant for our father? So monks came. Majority of, I think most of them are unenlightened monks. And then, so they were now standing around the Dhammipasaka's the bed. And then they started chanting Satipatthana Sutta. Very interesting. The monks chanted Satipatthana Sutta during the Buddha's time for the person who is going to die. Actually, a long time ago, in the perhaps 50s, 40s, 20s in Sri Lanka, this was a practice. Now, I don't think it's anymore going to work. Normally, monks chant the main three suttas, maybe Girima, maybe Bojjhanga suttas. But at that time, Satipatthana Sutta was the one. And then what happened? And during the funeral wake time, they chanted the Jataka story called Vessantara Jataka. How Vessantara donated his everything, right, during the wake time, and the dead body is in the house, in that time of Sri Lanka. Anyways, so now what happened? Dhammika Upasaka was listening to the chanting. Somewhere in the chanting, he said, stop. Then the monks thought, okay, maybe he's very tired now. I think we have to stop this chanting. And so they stopped the chanting. They told the daughters, I think it's no purpose of chanting him. He's very tired. So let him relax and we have to go back to the temple. So the monks went, and daughters, they were very, very sad. Just before our father is going to pass away, he even stopped all the monks to chant. Earlier he liked chanting, but now he has stopped. So all the monks went. Then after a couple minutes, he came back to his normal conscience and he said, asked from the daughter, where are the monks? Father, you told them to stop chanting. They left. No, I didn't ask them to stop. There were many devas coming in different deva carriages trying to put a garland around my neck. I said, stop doing this. I'm still making a good karma. I will decide after. So I told him, stop doing this. Stop showing me different garlands. I'm still making a good karma. I want to accelerate my good karma. In a moment of time, he passed away. Now, this story is a good place to understand. Some people can see their next life just before they pass away. Right? So this is something, this is called Gati Nimit. Right? This is called Gati Nimit. So then what I want to say here is that because Venerable Bodhika went through a very hard time just before he passed away, similarly, we understand we will go through these 3 moments and then our next life will arise. The first thought of the next life is called Patisandhi Chitta. Shuddhi Chitta was the last, and the next life, first one is Patisandhi Chitta. Now, Buddhism talks about lots of things. I mean, we don't have to go to Abhidhamma a lot. Now, Abhidhamma talks about many Patisandhi thoughts. I mean, perhaps I can show you something that I made long time ago just to make you curious about it. You can see here, Patisandhi, the Patisandhi Chitta. There are several Patisandhi Chittas, so you can see. So these Patisandhi Chittas, I mean, according to the Abhidhamma works, we understand why someone is reborn in the animal kingdom and become Asura, hungry ghost. It's because of the first Patisandhi Chitta is happening in that person's life. Why some people are becoming humans, but they are blind, they are deaf, they are physically disabled, is because of they are taking the second Patisandhi Chitta. And there are, as such, you know, the perfect human rebirth is talked by the Abhidhamma Sangha in this way. That means there are different people going through different Patisandhi, what you call Patisandhi Vinyanas. That's why, perhaps I'm going to send this to you at this point. So that's why Mara would like to know what will happen to that person after the death. So this stanza is telling us a way out and how to bypass the Mara and then to become an Arahant, enlightened person. Even before that, it's talking about Sila, Appamada, and then the Noble Eightfold Path. So this is what we've been learning. Any questions about the story and the stanza so far? And we can conclude after that. Yes, Miriam, question? Yeah.
Bhante, you mentioned about necessity to understand the nature of the mind.
Yeah.
We hardly, now, from my experience, we hardly say this in Theravada or early Buddhism, but more with regards to Mahayana or Tibetan Buddhism, they always use this word nature of the mind. So can you elaborate more on this?
Yeah, that's the problem that we are going through in our, it's not about early Buddhism or Theravada. It is the way how Dhamma speakers bring, they talk about the mind. Normally what they are talking is fill your mind, imbue your mind with positive thoughts, wholesome thoughts. And any failure to do that activity will be an akusala. This is what they are talking. But what we need to understand here is that, yes, we are trying to practice as such. But what if we don't understand the nature of the mind? We are going back to the default again. That's why Buddha always says, even the first stanza here, second stanza, Dhammapada, I think we did discuss that. Mano Pubbangama Dhamma. Mano Setta Manumaya. So mind precedes everything. Everything is made up of mind. Then what does it mean? Buddha is asking us to understand the nature of the mind, then think about kusala akusala. Not that you initially picked up what is kusala, what is akusala, then I'm good. But actually I'm not good one day because I don't know how my mind works. Now think about someone who has a neurological problem, who has autism, who has ADHD. The way how they look at life, they are hyper, their emotions are different than myself. So how are they going to understand something good? So they have to work on their life, right? So understanding the nature of the mind, let's say someone is bad-tempered. That's a good example. There is someone who is bad-tempered. Now other people are saying, look, you are such a bad-tempered person. You don't know what you talk to us. You hurt us many times. And then, okay, what can I do? You go to the Vihara, learn some Dhamma books, learn Noble Eightfold Path, practice some meditation. But the person is never given a chance to understand the nature of it. So he or she has to first understand the way how his thoughts are working towards anger. So we should give that chance. That's why it's very important to understand the nature of the mind before we are trying to instill that mind with kusala thoughts. If we don't do that, the way how my mind works and some other person's mind works might be different. That nature. You know why the nature of mind can be a little different to each other? It is because we have been carrying our Bhavanga consciousness very differently for many billions, trillions of life, more than that in the past. So the nature of my mind and somebody's mind could be a little different. The thought structure, the nature, how it was composed of. So we have to understand that. As you said, Vajrayana Rinpoches or such teachers, even Dalai Lama, even some Mahayana teachers, they pick up the right point. This is the interesting thing. I mean, you talk some Dhamma things to people. I mean, you rather than you are talking lots of information, it's good to pick up from the right place. And then we can talk about the rest of the things. Actually, it's an early Buddhist idea, but early Buddhist people who are picking up early Buddhism do not focus on that. That is a problem in the culture. Yes, Suzanne?
Oh, thank you, Bhante. Bhante, you said about good and bad sila. Is it the intention of the sila that is bad or the actual activity of the sila that is bad?
Both. Buddhism believes actions are any action, any thought, any speech influenced by the thought. Especially, it's not a thought, it's volition, chetana. So that means, say for instance, there is someone who is happily spending time, but cultivating akusala thoughts during that time. So the person still carries akusala thoughts. So the both. So, but we understand akusala is being created, wrong sila is being created at the volition level, and then it will become an action or a speech, full-fledged action. So the both. So there are two different levels of akusala vipaka, akusala activity. So thought, definitely thought. Yes, Sue, question?
Thank you, Bhante. Bhante, is it possible to be liberated by mere contemplation?
Is it possible to liberate by mere
contemplation of anicca, dukkha, and anatta? Is there a jnana for that?
It is possible to liberate by mere contemplation for certain people. Now, that's why I'm saying, if I don't understand the nature of my mind and my temperament, my character, because there were people who were blessed to liberate as such by contemplating anicca. You think about Patachara. Now, Patachara's story, Patachara lost everybody, all the loved ones within a week of time. And then what happened? How did she attain Nibbana? She looked at a certain place. Perhaps it was a mini waterfall, maybe a certain area, maybe a mini waterfall. And then she saw how water flows from a high place to a low place, and she attained Nibbana. And how many times we watching waterfalls on the internet? And how many times we been to waterfalls, starting from Niagara Falls? But have we attained this kind of an enlightenment? Why is it? That means nature of our mind, or maybe the way how we personalize, perceive that kind of a phenomenon is depending upon different people's characters. So that means what matters here is not the contemplation itself, but our temperament, our character. So it can work out, it might not work out for certain people. So contemplation can work out for certain people, but not for other people. It depends. Okay, any other questions?
Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes.
Hi, Bhante.
Yes.
Bhante, thank you very much for, I also was wondering why verse 57 has no word pupa there. But thank you very much for saying that it is referring to Mara's flowers. So I think that's a very good explanation. Thank you. This story about Godika taking his own life and then attaining Nibbana at that point is kind of quite difficult to understand. And when Bhante said about the nature of our mind, just for curiosity's sake, because Bhante has said that the mind in Pali refers to 3 words, mano, chitta, and vijnana. So this mind that Bhante is referring to, is it mano, chitta, or vijnana? Just for curiosity. Thank you, Bhante.
It's the whole cognitive experience. Now, we understand different stages of the cognitive experience. Say, for instance, mind is a physical faculty that we understand, but we cannot locate it. It is one life thing. Then chittas, they are things that are working within the mind. Actually, we have to worry about the thoughts. So when I say nature of our thoughts could be a good way to look at it, rather than the mind, because mind is the overall thing. Because what the Buddha talks is chitta-anupasana, chitta all the time. But we know in the Dhammapada, he talks about mano-pubbangama dhamma. That means mind precedes experience, and everything is influenced by the mind. But what kind of mind? Mind which carries thoughts. And consciousness, vijnana, is a elevated, heightened stage of the thought experience. That means when we say the nature of the mind, that's how people use it in English, we need to understand the nature of mind, thought, consciousness. So three aspects of the cognitive experience together. What is the nature of my thought? What is the nature of that whole mind? What's the nature of my consciousness, sensory consciousnesses? And that is what we've been talking here. Yes, maybe one more question. Maybe. Yes, Jenny?
Yeah, Bhante, when you say we need to know the nature of our thoughts, meaning we need to monitor what kind of thoughts that's always appear or arises in our mind, right? So that is how we know whether we are having more akusala thoughts or kusala thoughts, or is that how we should practice in our daily?
What I meant by saying knowing the nature of the cognitive experience is not monitoring in the first place, because we cannot monitor without knowing why we have to monitor this thing. What I was trying to say is that giving a friendly understand about who am I, what is going, what is happening within my thought structures, what is happening within my thought experience, maybe cognitive experience. Then I understand I have some certain thought patterns. I have some certain thoughts coming and going. And then I respond to certain people this way, that way. I react to people this way, that way. So this whole thing first have to be, given attention. After that, you may do a certain checking. I would say it's kind of a checking. But a good word is guarding your senses, watching your senses. Right? Otherwise, I'm not saying it's a monitoring. When you say monitor means perhaps you might feel like it's a very challenging experience. You are going to guard yourself. That's what the Buddha said. Rakkati, guarding your thoughts. That means every time when you understand my thought structure goes here and there, I have to slow down. That kind of an approach, not a controlling approach, rather a very healthy, comfortable, convenient approach with regard to that thought structure. But before doing that, we have to know what kind of thought structures are happening within me, what is my cognitive experience, what's the nature of how things have been happening over the course of time. That thing has to be first given attention. After that, a consistent activity with regard to checking is necessary. Kusala to akusala, akusala to kusala.
Okay, thank you.
I think with that, we're going to wrap this up by transferring good karmas to departed ones and the Devanaga. May all the good karmas we be making today by understanding Venerable Godika's story with regard to sila, complete sila, diligence, and then why and how Mara cannot trace somebody as such. And then there's a way to do that. So may all these good karmas be transferred to all the deceased loved ones who passed away in the name of all of us. May they be well and happy. May they attain the supreme bliss of sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idam vinyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyatevo. Idam vinyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyatevo. Idam vinyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyatevo. Next, we are going to share all our good karmas with Deva Naga Mahitika. May Deva Naga Mahitika receive all these good karmas. May they be well and happy. May they protect and bless all of you for good health, quality of life, prosperity, safety. May they in particular bless your Dhamma journeys, your Noble Eightfold Path Dhamma journey. May Deva Naga Mahitika finally attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha cha bhummanta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu sasanam. Akasattha cha bhummanta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu desanam. Akasattha cha bhummanta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu mang parang chirang rakhantu tvam sada. Our Dhamma wish is to be surrounded with Kalyan Mittas. We all are Kalyan Mittas to each other. At the same time, we wish may we be able to be surrounded by more Kalyan Mittas. Not even that, may we become Kalyan Mittas, as many individuals as we can, till we attain Nibbana. With this noble intention, we're going to make the wish. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamu satang samagamu Yavanimbana Patya. Finally, may all the good karmas we be making today by learning about this particular Dhammapada stanza about Mara and then how to find the way out of Mara. May all these good karmas be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana siddhis nichang vadha pacha ino chattaro dhamma vadhanti ayuvanno sukhang balam ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminati samiccati. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. With those blessings,
Thank
wishing
you,
you a
Bhante.
pleasant evening. Good night, everyone. Till
Thank
we
you,
see again.
Bhante.
Sadhu,
Thank you,
sadhu.
Bhante.
Bye.
Namaste. Good
Good
night,
night,
everybody.
everyone.
Sadhu Bhante.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Night.
Bhante.
Good night.
Sadhu,
Bhante.
sadhu,
Yeah.
sadhu.
Have
Take
a
care.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Bhante.
Bhante.
Thank you.
Have a
Bhante.
good
night,
trip,
good night.
Bhante.
Yes,
Sadhu,
thank
sadhu
you.
Bhante.
Good trip. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you, Dev. Yes, thank you. Yes.
Sadhu. Okay.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you.
Hey, see you, Bhante. Yeah.
Yes, see you.
Bye-bye.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
See you, Malaysia. Bye-bye.
yes. Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.